because they're my friends. They trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from big wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Though oil prices eased a bit today, they're still higher than before the Iran war. And gasoline prices, says ABC News chief business correspondent Rebecca Jarvis.
The price of gasoline now $4.07 across the country. That is the nationwide average this morning, up 2 cents overnight and more than 30 cents from a month ago. The key for prices to head really much lower here is a signal that is sustained that the Strait of Hormuz and the flow of oil has resumed, and best case scenario, resumed back to pre-war levels.
Sharing his story, the man who confronted a gunman with his semi-automatic pistol during a mass shooting outside a fast food restaurant in Twin Falls, Idaho, Saturday. 35-year-old Jordan Salinas says his goal was to help as many people survive and get home.
He seemed unusually comfortable aiming that rifle at those cars, and then as soon as some rounds started coming at him, everything changed.
Salinas says he started training for a mass shooting after one 5 years ago at an Idaho mall. 3 people were killed last weekend, 7 others injured. Police say the gunman died at the scene from a self-inflicted gunshot. 2 brothers fishing on a Massachusetts beach got a surprise, reeling in a 5-foot tiger shark. John Chisholm with the New England Aquarium.
The water temperature is getting up into the high 70s and will eventually hit the low 80s. And that's, perfect for these little juvenile tiger sharks.
Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
This is the News Radio KONP Noon Report.
Southworth live from the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening this Tuesday, August 4th. Ballot returns picking up somewhat in Clallam County ahead of today's primary election. According to the latest figures in the Secretary of State's office, 17,500 ballots had been returned out of about 59,500 registered voters. Turnout rate just below 30% now for Clallam County. In key races, voters will narrow the field for the 6th Congressional District and both 24th District Legislative House seats. West End voters are choosing between incumbent Mike French and challenger Jake Seegers for Clallam County Commissioner District 3. But because only those 2 candidates filed, both will advance to the November general election, and that's when the whole county will vote. The ballot also includes several Washington Supreme Court races, and there's also for Clallam 2 Fire Rescue and Emergency Medical Services levy ask. With today's deadline, elections officials say you should not mail your ballot. Instead, use an official drop box at the courthouse and other spots across the county, or return it in person to the Clallam County Auditor's Office. A Port Angeles man will spend nearly 2 years in state prison after pleading guilty to a violent crime spree that injured one person and damaged several businesses. 34-year-old James Robert Lundstrom was sentenced last week to 23 months in prison after pleading guilty to 5 felony charges, including attempted burglary, felony harassment with threats to kill, and assault. The case began February 22nd when 911 callers reported a man attacking people and businesses along East Front Street. Police say Lundstrom smashed the window of a pickup with a rock and then assaulted an elderly driver there who was waiting outside a pizza restaurant. The victim suffered injuries to his head and torso, had to be taken to the hospital. Investigators say Lundstrom also broke windows at a pizza restaurant and a marijuana store nearby, then tried to force his way inside while reportedly armed with a knife. When officers and Clallam County Sheriff's deputies arrived, Lundstrom refused commands to surrender. Police then used a taser and 40-millimeter sponge rounds before taking him into custody without any injuries. Investigators say surveillance video from several nearby businesses helped document the attack. Crime fell across every major category in Washington state last year. That according to the annual Crime in Washington report just out by the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs. The report shows murders dropped nearly 22% from 296 in 2024 to 236 last year. Violent crime declined about 14%, while property crime saw the biggest improvement, falling more than 21%. Crimes against persons, including assaults, also went down, although domestic violence still accounted for nearly half of those offenses. Law enforcement leaders credit a combination of improved staffing, proactive policing, updated vehicle pursuit laws, and expanded diversion and behavioral health programs for the decline. They also say faster court processing and community violence prevention efforts have helped. Despite the positive trend, the association says challenges remain. Washington continues to rank last in the country for law enforcement officers per capita, and officials warn staffing shortages, court capacity, and limits on investigative resources could make it harder to sustain the gains. They also note some crimes may go unreported, meaning official stats might not truly reflect the full scope of victimization in the state. More news after this.
Losing a loved one is overwhelming. Your mind and your heart shut down. That's where Drennan & Ford Funeral Home and Crematory comes in. They took the burden off my family's shoulders and guided us through everything we needed to do. No pushy sales tactics or unanswered questions. They just held our hands and took care of everything we asked. That's why I will always recommend Drennan & Ford for end-of-life decisions. They handle the hurt like no one else can. Call 360-457-1210.
Olympic Hot Tub has more ways than ever to achieve total wellness at home. Immerse yourself in a saltwater hot spring spa and let jets melt stress away. Enjoy a refreshing swim in an endless pool swim spa. Retreat to healing warmth and detox in a Tilo sauna. Then awaken mind and body with a cold plunge. You'll be saying, "Ah," in no time. Your path to wellness starts today at Olympic Hot Tub. Current specials with exciting savings at OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
They say money can't buy happiness, but have you ever walked across brand new floors in your socks? McCrory Carpet One's huge summer clearance sale is proof that happiness is surprisingly affordable. Prices start at just $1 a square foot with 50,000 square feet of in-stock flooring ready for installation. Carpet, luxury vinyl, hardwood, if it's on the floor, it's priced to leave the store. Prices so low, they'll knock your socks off. Thank goodness you now have nice floors from McCrory Carpet One.
In other news, the North Olympic Peninsula heading into several days of warmer weather, increasing wildfire danger, and also smoky skies. National Weather Service says winds out of the northeast continuing to push smoke into our areas from wildfires in eastern Washington. That'll happen at least through Thursday. Smoke high in the atmosphere has been moving over the region, with smoke near the surface expected to become more widespread as we head through the rest of today into tomorrow. For the North Olympic Peninsula, Port Angeles and along the Strait expected to see both heat and smoke concerns today and tomorrow. However, the outer coast, including the Forks and Neah Bay areas, should stay mostly smoke-free. The hottest weather expected Wednesday and Thursday, with temperatures peaking on Wednesday. Forecasters say the smoke could keep some of the temperatures from climbing as it blocks some sunlight, but conditions will still be warmer than usual. The combination of heat, dry conditions, and low overnight humidity is also increasing wildfire danger locally in the mountains. That's going to be in place through the end of the week. The Weather Service says residents should stay hydrated, limit your strenuous outdoor activity during the hottest part of the day, and keep an eye on local air quality reports if that smoke starts affecting the region. Meantime, a Spokane man has been arrested on suspicion of intentionally starting one of the wildfires that has devastated Spokane County. Spokane County Sheriff's Office says 37-year-old Aaron Farinacci was taken into custody yesterday and booked on first-degree arson. He's been held on $1 million bail and is expected to make his first court appearance today. Here's Spokane County Sheriff John Knowles talking with reporters yesterday.
Our detectives worked with our prosecutor, Preston McCollum, this morning to make sure that we had a very solid case to present to a judge today. And again, as I said, the judge signed the warrant at 3 p.m. and we had him in custody at 5 p.m.
Investigators say that a witness saw a man acting suspiciously along Old Trails Road. That happened just before the Old Trails fire started Saturday morning. An Airway Heights police officer contacted the man about a mile and a half from where the fire began. Detectives later identified him as the suspect after gathering additional evidence. The Old Trails fire, part of the Spokane complex of fires, where wildfires have merged and destroyed about 700 structures and forced as many as 65,000 people from their homes, and they continue to burn across that region of eastern Washington. Meantime, Governor Bob Ferguson announced today that the federal government has granted his request for an emergency declaration for those devastating wildfires burning in eastern Washington. The declaration allows federal agencies to mobilize their resources to support the state's response, but it also unlocks resources for state, local, and tribal governments. The declaration covers Chelan, Ferry, Okanagan, Spokane, Stevens, and Yakima counties, as well as the confederated tribes of the Yakima Nation, the Colville Reservation, and Spokane Tribe. Through FEMA, local governments will get help with costs for evacuating and providing emergency shelters, as well as assistance for emergency food and water, search and rescue operations, and more. The Gifford-Pinchot National Forest has issued an emergency closure around the high lava fire burning northwest of Stabler and west of the Trapper Creek Wilderness. The closure includes the West Crater Trail and Trailhead, as well as the West Soda Peaks Trailhead. More than 20 forest roads are now closed there in Skamania County. The lightning-caused fire has burned about 48 acres since July 23rd. This is News Radio KONP.
Hello, summer. Every Wednesday night, the JFFA Free Concerts on the Pier brings you live music on the Port Angeles City Pier. Join us for some of music's brightest performers in a setting unlike anywhere else. An eclectic mix of musicians, youth activities, and an expanded beer and wine garden will help keep you cool as the music. Come together Wednesday night for summer concerts on the Pier. Go to jffa.org for all the details.
Do you know when your septic system was last inspected? Clallam County Environmental Health keeps those records and can tell you. Pumping your septic and complete septic inspections by licensed professionals are two very different things. State law requires inspections every 1 to 3 years, depending on the system you have. Get more information about your septic system and inspection requirements by calling Clallam County Environmental Health 360-417-2258 or by logging on to clallam.net/septic.
Olympic Game Farm is the place for you. Better than the circus or a day at the zoo. There's llamas and there's lions and a race for you. Olympic Game Farm is the place for you. Say hello to a buffalo, stick out his tongue. This place is just amazing for the old and the young. These zebras or a tiger might catch your eye. They've even got a bear who'll wave goodbye. It's so much fun, so bring your dad and your mom. Look us up at onlygamefarm.com.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. 74 this afternoon, under clear skies, easterly winds around 5 miles per hour. Tonight, lows level off around 57. 76 tomorrow. Sunny skies and dry Thursday and Friday with highs in the mid-70s. Taking a look at the extended forecast, 71 Saturday, 69 Sunday, and 68 on Monday. Another look at the short range, a high of 74 today, a low of 57 tonight. We should top off around 76 tomorrow. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 72.
He's in Dodger blue. He'll be on the mound. Good morning. I'm Jay Reynolds. Tarek Skubal, the biggest chip to move prior to baseball's trade deadline, makes his Dodgers debut tonight with L.A. in Chicago facing the Cubs at Wrigley. Cubs winning the series opener last night, 10-5. Fourth straight loss for the Dodgers, despite L.A. jumping out to a 3-0 lead in the first inning. In the Bronx, a combined 10 homers for the Yanks and Cardinals. 30% of those home runs coming from one bat.
The pitch to Burleson. A swing! There it goes! There's his third home run tonight! Unbelievable! Oh, baby, what a swing! A 2-run homer for Burleson. 3 home runs, 6 RBIs. Yes, he got his 18th home run in this series. He got it in this game. A 3-homer night for him.
Cardinals Radio Network, that third homer coming in a 7-run 8th inning for the Cardinals. They rally for a 13-7 win. Phillies double up the Nationals 6-3. In the process, Philly hitting a grand slam for the first time this season. Diamondbacks 5-1 over the Padres. Giants get past the Rangers 5-1. Pirates top the Brewers 4-3, Rays 13-9 over Colorado. Houston's 6-game win streak is snapped, a 3-1 loss to Toronto. Dalton Varsho goes 1 for 4 for Houston. after being traded from the Blue Jays during the afternoon. Speaking of the trade deadline, more than 30 deals yesterday. Red Sox add catcher Adley Rutschman from the Orioles. Cubs landing Clay Holmes. Phillies add Luis Arraez. Milwaukee brings in Dustin May. Guardians acquire Nathaniel Lowe in a trade with the Reds. Padres pick up right-hander Casey Mize from the Tigers. Speaking of trades, Kelsey Plum went from L.A. to Phoenix over the weekend. Last night, she made her debut with the Mercury. 20 points in 20 minutes off the bench. Phoenix by 5 over Chicago. Aces top the Atlanta Dream, 109-87. U.S. Soccer says Mauricio Pochettino has a new deal to stay on as manager of the men's team.
The Port Angeles lefties dug themselves an early hole last night, giving up 6 runs in the first inning on the way to a 10-4 loss to the Kelowna Falcons at Civic Field. The lefties out-hit Kelowna 12-13, but 3 errors and a big opening inning proved costly. Kelowna got some home runs as well, finishing with 5 extra base hits in the game. The lefties, now 11-41 on the season, continue their final 3-game series of the season with the Falcons tonight. That'll be at Civic Field. Seattle Mariners made a couple of deals before Monday's Major League Baseball trade deadline, adding an outfielder while parting with one of the biggest names in their starting rotation. Seattle acquired veteran outfielder Taylor Ward yesterday from the Baltimore Orioles in exchange for pitching prospects Alex Hoppe and Brock Moore and Harrison Creeling. Ward is batting .246 this season and leads the American League in walks, giving the M's another experienced bat for the final couple months of this season. A bigger surprise came earlier in the weekend when the Mariners traded right-hander Luis Castillo to the Chicago White Sox. Seattle got reliever Sir Anthony Dominguez, outfielder Nolan Jones, catching prospect Boston Smith, and some cash considerations. The deadline passed without the Mariners making any blockbuster move that many fans had anticipated. Meantime, the M's begin a 3-game series with the Detroit Tigers tonight at T-Mobile in Seattle as they look to build on its recent momentum following the big trade deadline. Seattle enters the series after taking 2 of 3 from Minnesota and will debut newly acquired outfielder Taylor Ward, who was picked up from Baltimore just before the deadline yesterday. We take the air at 5:30 here on KONP, brought to you by Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales.
A pepperoni pizza for the table.
Thank you.
May I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness, while the carbonation and notes of citrus enhance the flavor profile. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time. Pizza deserves Pepsi.
This afternoon on the Todd Ortloff Show, North Olympic Health Network CEO Dr. Terry Sabella discusses National Health Center Week and the latest from Known. Plus, Port Angeles Executive Director Paul Jerkovich with some port news and updates.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance.
News Radio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Oil prices finished today down close to 6% under $76 a barrel as hopes rose for some kind of peace deal between the U.S. and Iran that would reopen the Strait of Hormuz. After a few months of weakness, existing home prices rose in 80% of all U.S. cities in the second quarter of this year. That's according to the National Association of Realtors. The median increase in prices was up 1.25%. The Northeast saw the biggest gain, up 3.8%, while Western states saw the biggest decline of nearly 1%. Major League Baseball's Owners Management Council has approved the sale of the San Diego Padres to Jose Feliciano, the founder of the Santa Monica-based investment firm Clear Lake Capital Group, for $3.9 billion. That's the most ever paid for a Major League Baseball team. The remaining team owners will vote on the purchase later this year. Markets continue to soar. The Dow has hit 1,000 points. The Nasdaq is up over 2.75%, while the S&P 500 has gained close to 2%. Dan Schwartzman, Bloomberg Radio.
Your birth experience should feel like yours. Come meet the midwives who can make that happen. Meet Our Midwives is a free monthly open house at Olympic Medical Center where you can get to know our certified nurse midwives, tour our birth center, and start planning the birth that feels right for you. Join us the first Tuesday of every month at 5:30 p.m. in the Olympic Memorial Hospital Sunroom. Learn more at olympicmedical.org/meetourmidwives.
Leeds Farm Supply is your local equipment dealer. But did you know that it's the only locally owned service center too? Leeds services the tractors, mowers, trailers, and other equipment they sell, along with brands like Kubota and John Deere. Leeds has 2 trained techs to take care of any size machine, competitive pricing, a fully stocked parts department, and a quick turnaround. Call or text 360-452-1400 and talk to Jeremiah for all your service needs. Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales, your local farm store, and so much more.
News Radio KONP, traffic and roads.
All right, let's head up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center now. That's where Jarrett's standing by with a look at what's happening out there this noon hour on a Tuesday. Good afternoon, Jarrett.
Yeah, good afternoon. Taking a look here, we do have a little bit of heavier traffic between Sequim and Port Angeles right now, mostly westbound or eastbound towards Sequim, and then a little bit of traffic going on First and Front. Still got ongoing construction there near Chambers. There was a report of some ambulance, possible blockage on 5th between Peabody and Vine, so be on the lookout for that. And then everything else is looking good heading out of town. As we head east towards the Hood Canal Bridge, there is a scheduled 1 o'clock bridge opening there coming up soon. So also for the ferry, please go to WSDOT for live information there. This is Jarrett with Clallam Transit for KONP.
Thank you, Jarrett. Another update from you in about a half hour. Your current ferry situation, no problems. Everything's running on time right now. Things are back on schedule there in the Seattle run. Your weather forecast is calling for sunshine today, mid-70s, maybe 80 away from the water. And then mostly clear into tonight, but some smoke's going to start coming in this evening and going to linger into tomorrow morning as well. So watch for that. Lows will be in the mid-50s. Sunny with patchy smoke through most of the day tomorrow, with highs in the upper 70s, maybe the mid-80s, depending on how much smoke and how far away from the water you are. Things start to clear out a little bit more by Wednesday night into Thursday, but sunshine continues Thursday with highs in the upper 70s to the mid-80s. Right now across the peninsula, it is 66 in Port Townsend, 80 now out west at Forks. Sequim's got 72, and it's also 72 degrees out at Fairchild Airport here in Port Angeles.
From ABC News Tech Trends. The White House is expected to brief AI companies today about a new framework for testing the cybersecurity capabilities of their models. It comes after OpenAI and Anthropic reported their internal models escaped their testing environments without the companies knowing. Microsoft is warning travelers about a new threat targeting hospitality companies. The intrusions are widespread but targeted, according to the company, and are being attributed to Russian state-sponsored hackers. Microsoft's warning those logging into public Wi-Fi networks to be aware of fake windows that may pop up, prompting you to download updates or patches. And MySpace may be making a comeback. According to a new documentary, the platform's current owners, Tim and Chris Vanderhook, say they're planning to relaunch the once dominant social media platform. They haven't shared what the new MySpace will look like or when that launch is happening, just that they're waiting for the right moment. With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dabusky, ABC News.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
There are lots of things you can measure to get an idea of how healthy you are at any given moment. Temperature, heart rate, blood pressure, just to name a few. But how about how healthy you will be and how long you're likely to live? According to a new study out of the University at Buffalo, 2 simple strength tests are pretty accurate at predicting longevity in older women. One is hand grip strength, and the other is how quickly people can stand up from a seated position without using their arms. By the way, I remember interviewing former President Jimmy Carter when he was quite old and being really impressed how he just popped out of the chair without using his arms. Not a lot of older people can actually do that. But I think the message here is that maintaining strength as you age is going to help you perform everyday activities, but also help you avoid injury and stay independent. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Now at Lowe's,
Faster quotes start at the Lowe's Pro Desk. Got a material list handwritten on a sticky note or saved as a photo? Perfect. Bring it to us and get a quote in minutes. And if you don't see what you need on the shelf, we'll help you get it. You can access thousands of products beyond what's available in store or on Lowe's.com, right from the Lowe's Pro Desk. Build quotes faster and source the materials you need to keep your jobs moving. Just like that, at Lowe's.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She could get a deal. Book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Hello, I'm Jerry Stewart, and this is One Moment in America. Our history books are filled with countless stories where Americans seemed certain to fall, but the very sight of our flag sustained them. Such was the case at Iwo Jima. I'll tell you that story after this important message.
Hello, Jerry and Kelly Stewart here to bring you our latest update on our Calitrin Top Loss plan that we recently started. We had great expectations, wondering just what would happen in this daily new adventure. And the results? Great news. At the end of our first month, we were so much better than before we started. My biggest issue was the arthritis pain I had, and that first night when I started Calitrin, the pain just stopped. Kelly, how about you?
Well, Jerry, I had a hard time going to sleep, but when I started Calitrin, my sleep pattern changed, and I'm getting more good rest now.
And when our friends at church see us, they tell us how good we look. We say it's the supplement Calitrin. So how about you? Are you ready to start your plan with Calitrin and begin to feel better for summertime? So go now to toploss.com or call 833-TOP-LOSS and get your supply of Calitrin to start your journey to a better you. See you there.
In 1944, after hundreds of brave American Marines were killed while landing the beach on the island of Iwo Jima, 40 Marines made their way up that island's tallest mountain carrying an American flag. Their instructions, if you make it to the top, raise that flag high for all below to see. And when they got there, they raised the flag, and all who saw it cheered with pride. They had new strength to go on, and they would need it. Over the next 2 months, over 6,000 Americans were killed in battle. But through that horrific battle, the Americans never gave up, and that flag never fell. Wow. I'm Jerry Stewart, and that was One Moment in America.
Home affordability? Yes, it does exist here on the peninsula with Mountain View Homes. Looking for a quality craftsmanship home at 40% less than stick-built? Call Mountain View Homes. We specialize in affordable homes with full-service land packages, dirt to turnkey, quality, beautiful, and an efficient manufactured home on the site of your choice. Mountain View Homes has 3 locations to serve you, including Carlsberg. Visit mtviewhomes.com. That's mtviewhomes.com.
Come see Price Ford when shopping for your next new or pre-owned vehicle. How about a new Ford F-150 for those tough tasks, a sleek Ford Mustang, or a versatile Escape for your daily commute? Price Ford has a comprehensive selection for every need and budget. Our knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect vehicle that fits your lifestyle and budget. Price Ford, next to Walmart in Port Angeles, or priceford.com. In a world where prices keep climbing and uncertainty seems to change by the hour, local businesses are carrying a lot. And here at KONP, we see that. For more than 80 years, KONP has been part of this community. We've celebrated your grand openings, shared your stories, and helped local businesses connect with local people. Because when our businesses succeed, our community shines a little brighter. Marketing shouldn't feel overwhelming. It should feel like having a trusted partner in your corner. That's where we come in. Whether your budget is big, small, or somewhere in between, we can create a marketing plan built around your goals, your customers, and your needs, reaching your customers immediately, right here at home. Don't go it alone. Let's sit down, get creative, and grow together. KONP Radio, proudly serving our community and the businesses that keep it moving. Call us at 360-457-1450, and let's partner up.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. The Senate Judiciary Committee votes 12-10 to advance the nomination of Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche to the full Senate for a final confirmation vote.
The nomination will be favorably reported. The meeting's adjourned.
Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley of Iowa announcing results of the vote to advance the nomination to the full Senate. Tuesday's vote followed a deal struck late Sunday between Blanche and two Republican senators who threatened to block his confirmation until Blanche formally rescinded a $1.8 billion fund meant to compensate some who felt they were unfairly targeted by the Justice Department. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
Some positive news. Iran and the Gulf Arab state of Oman have reportedly made progress toward a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, a potential breakthrough that could help wind down the war in the Middle East. Two regional officials told the Associated Press that under the emerging agreement, ships would enter the Persian Gulf through an Iranian-controlled route, and they would exit through a route that was controlled by Oman. Service fees would be charged. These talks are ongoing. On Wall Street, stocks are headed toward a record.
I'm Seth Sutell, and this is Markets in a Minute. Stocks are rising toward a record on Wall Street as big companies keep piling up profits and oil prices head lower. The S&P 500 was up 1.1% in the first hour of trading Tuesday. The index is on track to beat the all-time high it set in early June. The Dow added 715 points, that's about 1.3%. The Nasdaq Composite rallied 1.6%. Palantir Technologies and Caterpillar posted big gains after becoming the latest companies to beat Wall Street's profit estimates. AI company Palantir jumped 27%. Caterpillar rose 5%. Brent crude fell about 4%. Seth Sutell, New York.
More on these stories from townhall.com.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free, no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
The FBI investigating cyber attacks on 2 states.
Michigan has joined Minnesota in reporting cyber attacks on water systems, but an official says all were operating safely. Earlier this week, authorities said cyber attacks targeted over 30 water systems in Minnesota. The source of the attacks is being investigated, but they came amid warnings that Iranian hackers have been focused on such systems. Minnesota IT Services said Thursday that the investigation into the attacks that happened on Sunday and Monday was continuing, and that state officials had not identified who was behind them. There were no reports that residents had been impacted by the attacks. Keith Peters reporting.
2 brothers fishing on Cape Cod, Massachusetts, reeling in a juvenile tiger shark. What's unusual, this species of shark is far more common in warmer southern waters such as the Caribbean Sea. News and analysis at townhall.com. Despite soaring prices for new cars and trucks, business has been booming for a leading Japanese automaker.
Toyota's profits almost doubled in its fiscal first quarter. Solid demand in the U.S. and India, combined with a favorable exchange rate, boosting the bottom line. The automaker, whose line includes the Prius hybrid and Lexus luxury models, reports a $9.4 billion net profit April through June, up substantially from the same quarter a year ago. Quarterly sales rose 10% on year to $85 billion. Rich Thomason reporting.
And McDonald's posted a strong profit in its second quarter, named a new head of the U.S. market, as sales in the U.S. continue to be impacted by Americans' cautious spending. The Chicago chain did earn $2.36 billion, as opposed to 2025's $2.25 billion. More on these stories at townhall.com.
This This is the News Radio KONP Noon Report.
Todd Ortloff from the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening this Tuesday, August 4th. Ballot returns picking up somewhat in Clallam County ahead of today's primary election. According to the latest figures in the Secretary of State's office, 17,500 ballots had been returned out of about 59,500 registered voters. Turnout rate just below 30% now for Clallam County. In key races, voters will narrow the field for the 6th Congressional District and both 24th District Legislative House seats. West End voters are choosing between incumbent Mike French and challenger Jake Seegers for Clallam County Commissioner District 3. But because only those two candidates filed, both will advance to the November general election, and that's when the whole county will vote. The ballot also includes several Washington Supreme Court races, and there's also for Clallam 2 Fire Rescue and Emergency Medical Services levy ask. With today's deadline, elections officials say you should not mail your ballot. Instead, use an official drop box at the courthouse and other spots across the county, or return it in person to the Clallam County Auditor's Office. A Port Angeles man will spend nearly 2 years in state prison after pleading guilty to a violent crime spree that injured one person and damaged several businesses. 34-year-old James Robert Lundstrom was sentenced last week to 23 months in prison after pleading guilty to 5 felony charges, including attempted burglary, felony harassment with threats to kill, and assault. The case began February 22nd when 911 callers reported a man attacking people and businesses along East Front Street. Police say Lundstrom smashed the window of a pickup with a rock and then assaulted an elderly driver there who was waiting outside a pizza restaurant. The victim suffered injuries to his head and torso, had to be taken to the hospital. Investigators say Lundstrom also broke windows at a pizza restaurant and a marijuana store nearby, then tried to force his way inside while reportedly armed with a knife. When officers and Clallam County Sheriff's deputies arrived, Lundstrom refused commands to surrender. Police then used a taser and 40-millimeter sponge rounds before taking him into custody without any injuries. Investigators say surveillance video from several nearby businesses helped document the attack. Crime fell across every major category in Washington state last year. That according to the annual Crime in Washington report just out by the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs. The report shows murders dropped nearly 22% from 296 in 2024 to 236 last year. Violent crime declined about 14%, while property crime saw the biggest improvement, falling more than 21%. Crimes against persons, including assaults, also went down, although domestic violence still accounted for nearly half of those offenses. Law enforcement leaders credit a combination of improved staffing, proactive policing, updated vehicle pursuit laws, and expanded diversion and behavioral health programs for the decline. They also say faster court processing and community violence prevention efforts have helped. Despite the positive trend, the association says challenges remain. Washington continues to rank last in the country for law enforcement officers per capita, and officials warn staffing shortages, court capacity, and limits on investigative resources could make it harder to sustain the gains. They also note some crimes may go unreported, meaning official stats might not truly reflect the full scope of victimization in the state. More news after this.
I'm Sophia with Clallam County PUD.
And I'm Michaela.
We're excited to share something new, our Power Pledge Fund.
It's a simple way neighbors can help neighbors during tough times.
Power Pledge provides immediate assistance to customers facing a crisis, like medical emergency, job loss, or unexpected hardship.
And every dollar goes directly to helping local families with care and privacy.
You can make a one-time donation, give any amount you choose monthly,
or even round up your bill to the next dollar.
Learn more at clallampud.net.
Finding reliable home services in our area can be a challenge. But when it comes to glass, windows, and doors, trust the experts at Hartnagel Glassworks. Our employee-owned glass teams have over 80 years of combined installation experience, and with 100% 5-star rating on Google, our customers can't be wrong. We handle sales, installation, repairs, and replacements for windows, glass and exterior doors, shower enclosures, railings, and more. Do not fall for out-of-town window companies with questionable sales tactics and insanely high prices. Stick with a team you can trust. We're local, employee-owned, and the choice of homeowners and builders who know quality work matters. And if your project qualifies for energy rebates, we'll handle the paperwork. As the weather improves, wait times increase, so don't wait. Contact us today. Get more info by going to hbsglassworks.com. And as always, we deeply appreciate you for shopping local and employee-owned.
In other news, the North Olympic Peninsula heading into several days of warmer weather, increasing wildfire danger, and also smoky skies. National Weather Service says winds out of the northeast continuing to push smoke into our areas from wildfires in eastern Washington. That'll happen at least through Thursday. Smoke high in the atmosphere has been moving over the region, with smoke near the surface expected to become more widespread as we head through the rest of today into tomorrow. For the North Olympic Peninsula, Port Angeles and along the Strait expected to see both heat and smoke concerns today and tomorrow. However, the outer coast, including the Forks and Neah Bay areas, should stay mostly smoke-free. The hottest weather expected Wednesday and Thursday, with temperatures peaking on Wednesday. Forecasters say the smoke could keep some of the temperatures from climbing as it blocks some sunlight, but conditions will still be warmer than usual. The combination of heat, dry conditions, and low overnight humidity is also increasing wildfire danger locally in the mountains. That's going to be in place through the end of the week. Meantime, a Spokane man has been arrested on suspicion of intentionally starting one of the wildfires that has devastated Spokane County. Spokane County Sheriff's Office says 37-year-old Aaron Farinacci was taken into custody yesterday and booked on first-degree arson. He's been held on $1 million bail and is expected to make his first court appearance today. Here's Spokane County Sheriff John Knowles talking with reporters yesterday.
Our detectives worked with our prosecutor, Preston McCollum, this morning to make sure that we had a very solid case to present to a judge today. And again, as I said, the judge signed the warrant at 3 p.m., and we had him in custody at 5 p.m.
Investigators say that a witness saw a man acting suspiciously along Old Trails Road. That happened just before the Old Trails fire started Saturday morning. An Airway Heights police officer contacted the man about a mile and a half from where the fire began. Detectives later identified him as the suspect after gathering additional evidence. The Old Trails fire, part of the Spokane complex of fires, where wildfires have merged and destroyed about 700 structures and forced as many as 65,000 people from their homes, and they continue to burn across that region of eastern Washington. Meantime, Governor Bob Ferguson announced today that the federal government has granted his request for an emergency declaration for those devastating wildfires burning in eastern Washington. The declaration allows federal agencies to mobilize their resources to support the state's response, but it also unlocks resources for state, local, and tribal governments. The declaration covers Chelan, Ferry, Okanagan, Spokane, Stevens, and Yakima counties, as well as the Confederated Tribes of the Yakima Nation, the Colville Reservation, and Spokane Tribe. Through FEMA, local governments will get help with costs for evacuating and providing emergency shelters, as well as assistance for emergency food and water, search and rescue operations, and more. The Gifford-Pinchot National Forest has issued an emergency closure around the high lava fire burning northwest of Stabler and west of the Trapper Creek Wilderness. The closure includes the West Crater Trail and Trailhead, as well as the West Soda Peaks Trailhead. More than 20 forest roads are now closed there in Skamania County. The lightning-caused fire has burned about 48 acres since July 23rd. This is News Radio KONP.
Looking for the perfect place to enjoy your next chapter? Come tour Lavender Meadows in Sequim, featuring beautiful, affordable homes for active 55-plus living. Enjoy modern, low-maintenance living, plus pickleball courts, a community garden, and clubhouse gatherings.
Hey folks, this is Courtney over at Lavender Meadows. We hope to see you soon to check out our 8 new floor plans. Don't forget to ask us about our lease-to-own options.
Come home to Lavender Meadows. Visit lavendermeadowsmhc.com.
Don't miss Unity of Effort this Saturday, August 8th at Security Services Northwest Headquarters in Sequim. One of the biggest and best events on the peninsula, Unity of Effort is a free community celebration honoring those who protect our way of life. Presented by Security Services Northwest.
Hello, this is Joe D'Amico from Security Services Northwest. My team and I are excited to invite you and your family to this year's Unity of Effort. We're proud to create this annual event to honor our first responders who protect our way of life.
Enjoy delicious food and amazing live performances throughout the day, including rock legend Lita Ford. Lita Ford brings her intensity and smash hits to Squim, headlining the Unity of Effort main stage. Her 80s rock anthems will help celebrate our first responders. Will you be there? Unity of Effort, a free community event this Saturday at Security Services Northwest Headquarters in Squim.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. 74 this afternoon, under clear skies, easterly winds around 5 miles per hour. Tonight, lows level off around 57. 76 tomorrow. Sunny skies and dry Thursday and Friday with highs in the mid-70s. Taking a look at the extended forecast, 71 Saturday, 69 Sunday, and 68 on Monday. Another look at the short range, a high of 74 today, a low of 57 tonight. We should top off around 76 tomorrow. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 72.
Mariners 5:30 airtime against the Detroit Tigers here on KONP, brought to you by Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales. Now with the rest of the sports, here's Robert Workman.
A very busy trade deadline day in baseball. The Red Sox sent a package of top prospects to the Orioles for all-star catcher Adley Rutschman, the #1 overall pick in 2019. Philadelphia acquired Luis Arraez, who's working on his 4th batting title. He came over from San Francisco. The Padres picked up starters Robbie Ray from the Giants and Casey Mize from the Tigers. The Cubs added starter Clay Holmes from the Mets. Tampa Bay bolstered its bullpen with Tyler Wells from the Orioles. Outfielders on the move: Taylor Ward from Baltimore to Seattle, Brenton Doyle from the Rockies to the White Sox, and Joe Adell in a Guardians-Angels swap. Cleveland also added Nationals all-star southpaw Foster Griffin. On the field, a light schedule. The Cubs doubled up the Dodgers 10-5. The two-time defending World Series champs have now lost 4 in a row. Tarek Skubal makes his Dodger debut tonight at Wrigley Field. Rays scaled the Rockies 13-9. Junior Caminero homered twice. Cardinals clubbed the Yankees 13-7. Alec Burleson hit a 2-run homer in the first inning, another in the 4th, and did it again in the 8th.
Definitely cool to hit 3 homers. Definitely not going to complain. Yeah, it was definitely a cool feeling to get that 3rd one for sure.
5 Redbird round trippers in all. Blue Jays beat the Astros to snap Houston's 6-game winning streak. Phillies rallied past the Nationals, largely due to a Derek Hill grand slam in the 7th. 6 straight losses for D.C. Giants handed the Rangers their 6th consecutive L. Wins for the Pirates and the Diamondbacks. And Mauricio Pochettino will get another chance to lead the U.S. into the World Cup. He and U.S. Soccer announced a new 4-year contract for the manager through 2030. That's Tuesday Sports.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. If it's showing signs of age, leaks, or storm damage, upgrade now with Tri-State Roofing. Use special promo code KONP50 and receive 50% off new gutters with your new roof, or 50% off a new skylight with your roof replacement. It's the perfect opportunity to improve your home's protection, beauty, and value while saving big. At Tri-State Roofing, we install quality roofing systems backed by expert craftsmanship and outstanding customer service. Our flexible financing options means the roof you need has never been more affordable. Call the local team your neighbors trust. 360-208-2222. That's 360-208-2222. Mention promo code KONP50 to receive 50% off gutters with your new roof, or 50% off a skylight with your roof replacement. Tri-State Roofing. Quality you can trust. Protection that lasts.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
News Radio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Oil prices finished a day down close to 6%, under $76 a barrel, as hopes rose for some kind of peace deal between the U.S. and Iran that would reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Caterpillar's been making earth-moving and construction equipment for 101 years, but it's the power generation equipment fueled by the surge in AI data centers that has boosted overall sales and prompted the company to raise its full-year forecast. Chanel's sales rose by double digits in the first half, beating luxury rivals including LVMH, as revenue in the first half of this year rose in all regions, led by the U.S., where sales jumped by more than 25%. The watches and fine jewelry unit sales jumped by about 35% in the half. The privately held company publishes annual results once a year, and in May reported sales grew 1.8% to $19.3 billion in 2025. Just ahead of Wall Street's closing bell, the Dow hitting over 1,000 points, the Nasdaq's up close to 3%, while the S&P 500 has gained around 2%. Dan Schwartzman, Bloomberg Radio.
Let's get a last check of the noontime commute. brought to you by Angela's Furniture and by McCrory Carpet One.
What's as beautiful as a sunny summer day? A summer sale big enough to make you step inside Angela's Furniture for their huge Beauty Rest sale. Right now, you'll find the Beauty Rest Level 1 Medium Tight Top Queen Mattress for only $679. Step it up a notch to the Level 2 Medium Tight Top or Extra Firm Top Mattress for just $949. These deals aren't all they have in store either. Get the refreshing sleep you deserve today on your brand new Beauty Rest, only at Angela's Furniture.
They say money can't buy happiness, but have you ever walked across brand new floors in your socks? McCrory Carpet One's huge summer clearance sale is proof that happiness is surprisingly affordable. Prices start at just $1 a square foot with 50,000 square feet of in-stock flooring ready for installation. Carpet, luxury vinyl, hardwood, if it's on the floor, it's priced to leave the store. Prices so low, they'll knock your socks off. Thank goodness you now have nice floors from McCrory Carpet One.
News Radio KONP, traffic and roads.
All right, let's head up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center one last time this hour, and that's where Jarrett's standing by with an eye on the noontime traffic for us. Good afternoon, Jarrett.
Good afternoon. Yeah, taking a look here. It's actually looking pretty good both ways on 101 between Sequim and Port Angeles right now. Nothing major there. Nothing reported. As we head to downtown Port Angeles, is looking good there as well. A little bit slowing down front and first. Some work going on near Chambers there. Heading up Lincoln is looking pretty good until you get to Lorton. You got a little bit of slowing down there. If you are planning on heading out west along the 112, they are doing some paving there, so there's some pretty heavy slowing down there near CQ River Road. And then heading east, taking a look at the Hood Canal Bridge, we are now scheduled for a 1:30 closure as well. So be prepared for that. And for your ferry information, please go to WSDOT for live information. This is Jarrett with Clallam Transit for KONP.
Thank you, Jarrett. Latest on the ferries, running on time for the most part now throughout the system. No real delays there in the Seattle routes, at least. The weather forecast the rest of today: sunshine, 70s to low 80s, mostly clear with patchy smoke coming in this evening, and it's going to stick around well into Wednesday afternoon. Overnight lows tonight will be in the mid-50s, maybe the low 60s. Still pretty warm at night. Sunny tomorrow with a lot of smoke lingering, highs in the upper 70s to mid-80s. We clear out a bit Wednesday night with lows near 60, and sunny for Thursday with highs upper 70s to mid-80s, and perhaps maybe a little less smoke in our forecast then. Right now across the North Olympic Peninsula, we've got 67 in Port Townsend. It's 82 now out west at Forks. Sequim now at 72, and it's also 72 degrees out at Fairchild Airport here in Port Angeles. All right, it turns out humans are not the only ones who can benefit from a strong cup of coffee in the morning. Study found that bees also get a buzz from caffeine, and it helps them become more productive. Researchers said when you give bees caffeine, they don't do anything weird like fly in loops, but they do seem to be more motivated and more efficient. The study found that bumblebees, in particular, fed caffeine, were better at remembering the smell of a specific flower that had nectar inside.
Wherever life takes you on the North Olympic Peninsula and beyond, take Radio Pacific with you. Download the free Radio Pacific app and listen live to News Radio KONP, Z104.9 Classic Hits, and the Straight 102 Country, all in one place. Stay connected with local news and your favorite music, plus you're eligible for exclusive discounts at local businesses. Everything you love about local radio, right in your pocket. Download the Radio Pacific app today on Apple or Android and take the North Olympic Peninsula with you.
Don't look now, but the whole idea of cutting your electric bill with solar panels just changed in your favor. I'm Kim Commando for ExpressVPN. With one click, ExpressVPN keeps your online activity private and secure. Get 4 extra months at expressvpn.com/Kim. All right, maybe you price solar panels for your home, $35,000 to $50,000 installed. Fuzzy answers on savings and lifespan. So you said no. Smart. But now in 8 states, Utah, Maine, Virginia, Colorado, Maryland, Connecticut, Vermont, and New Hampshire, do-it-yourself plug-in solar panels are popping up on patios and balconies. Point one at the sun and plug it into a regular wall outlet. Done. Big names make them: EcoFlow, Anchor, Craftstorm, and Bright Saver. Figure about $300 for a starter panel, up to $2,000 for a full kit, pumping out 1,200 watts. They work. They cut real money off your bill every month. Your state not on the list? Rattle your legislature. Now that's a bright idea. Get my free newsletter at getkim.com. Remember when using a VPN was something only tech pros talked about? Not anymore. Today, a VPN is one of the smartest ways to protect your privacy online. Your internet provider can see your online activity. Websites and advertisers can track what you do online. That's why I've used ExpressVPN for years. ExpressVPN encrypts 100% of your internet traffic and reroutes it through secure servers, so no third party can see what you're doing online. It also hides your IP address, making it much harder for anyone to track your online activity. And whenever you're on public Wi-Fi at an airport, hotel, or coffee shop, ExpressVPN helps keep your online activity private, even on unsecured networks. If you're ready to take your online security seriously, use my special link to get 4 extra months at expressvpn.com/Kim. Plus, you'll get a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's 4 extra months at expressvpn.com/Kim. That's expressvpn.com/Kim, expressvpn.com/Kim.
I'm John Tesh, and coming up, you want to make losing weight easier? Get some sleep. I'll tell you why sleep can make or break your weight loss goals next in today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Getting good sleep can make or break your weight loss goals. That's according to neuroscientist Dr. Matthew Walker. And here's why. First, a good night's sleep will reduce cravings for unhealthy food. It takes willpower to order a salad instead of a pizza, and research shows a lack of sleep undercuts our willpower. In Dr. Walker's research, people who got 8 hours of sleep tended to prefer healthy foods. But when they pulled an all-nighter, their brains lit up like crazy in the presence of junk food. That's because when we're sleep deprived, we have less energy. So our brain compels us to eat the highest calorie foods to get our energy back. And then, good sleep helps us burn more calories when we're awake. According to the Annals of Internal Medicine, being sleep deprived throws our metabolism way out of whack, and we end up storing more calories as fat instead of burning them for energy. Getting good sleep can make or break your weight loss goals. I'm John Tesh with today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
Your community-minded friends at First Fed bring you the Community Corner, highlighting good things happening right here in our area.
First Fed is proud of their 100-year tradition of giving back to the Clallam and Jefferson County community. The First Fed Foundation supports local nonprofits, tribes, and government agencies that help build a brighter future for low to moderate income families, along with organizations providing a wide array of critical, life-enhancing support to our area. The foundation supports organizations like the North Olympic Healthcare Network as they expand mobile health clinic services to include school-based, on-site preventative, dental, and vision services, and the OMC Foundation to provide more support for low-income patients undergoing cancer treatment. From community development projects to organizations addressing homelessness and access to affordable housing, the First Fed Foundation is proud and privileged to contribute to a brighter future for our community.
The North Peninsula's news, the North Peninsula's talk. News Radio KONP, Port Angela Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. A new allegation, a new action regarding Congressman Max Miller, Ohio Republican, who denies allegations of abusing his now ex-wife and daughter. The House Ethics Committee today formally announced an investigation into Miller for alleged domestic violence and abuse or illegal drug use. Sources tell ABC News that President Trump called Miller, telling him his re-election campaign is in jeopardy. Senator Bernie Moreno, Ohio Republican, ex-father-in-law of Miller's, wants Miller to resign.
This is truly the seventh level of hell. This has been a horrific experience for my entire family. My daughter specifically did not want this to be out in the public.
Bails $1 million for a man arrested for allegedly starting the largest of the 3 wildfires in Spokane, Washington, that destroyed hundreds of buildings and forced tens of thousands of people from their homes. He went to prison for manslaughter in his father's 2010 killing in Arizona. Oil prices have been dropping as the U.S. tries to get a deal with Iran, but gasoline prices are still high. They could go higher, says Patrick DeHaan, Gas Buddy, head of petroleum analysis, because of the Ukraine attacks on Russian oil facilities.
The loss of refining capacity in Russia is problematic because traditionally Russia is a major exporter of product. Without any product to export after those refineries have been knocked offline, that is becoming another pain point that we're going to have to watch very closely in the weeks and months ahead.
Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche has been confirmed by the Senate Judiciary Committee. Blanche can only afford to lose 2 Republican votes in the full Senate vote ahead, says ABC's Catherine Falders in Washington.
He still does have a challenge with the full Senate. He will likely get through, but that doesn't mean it's going to be smooth sailing between now and presumably Saturday night is when that full vote for Blanche, at this point at least, will likely be.
You're listening to ABC News.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-529-2856. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 to 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-529-2856. That's 800-529-2856 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-529-2856. 800-529-2856.
Alleged terrorism attack brings a federal grand jury indictment.
Former Army Private Andrew Arabaka was charged with 1 count of arson for the attack, which prosecutors say began planning back in January. The entire incident last month was caught on surveillance footage, showing Arabaka allegedly lighting fireworks, pouring gasoline onto a stairwell and then lighting it, and then firing a BB rifle towards the main federal building in downtown Manhattan. Arabaka hasn't yet entered a plea, and an arraignment was not immediately scheduled. Peter Haralambous, ABC News, New York.
Extreme heat warnings for millions in the Southwest, says ABC News forecaster Samara Theodore.
113 degrees in Las Vegas, 112 in Palm Springs, 110 in Phoenix. Not much of a break in the coming days. The farther south you head, things have cooled off a bit in the north, but even there, firefighters have to be on the lookout because as we head towards the end of the week, temperatures will start to rise again.
Hitting a pause button, this state with a whole lot of data centers.
No data center, no data centers.
The protests have only gotten louder, and Texas Governor Greg Abbott has heard them, demanding last week that data centers be self-sufficient.
They must provide their own power, not taking power off the power grid.
Now he's gone a step beyond, announcing a moratorium on new data centers without approval from the state's regulatory agencies. He's offered no deadline on the completion of those audits. Jim Ryan, ABC News in Dallas-Fort Worth.
An up day for Wall Street. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
At Olympic Peninsula Title, good old-fashioned customer service never goes out of style. We've been closing real estate transactions in Clallam County for over 40 years and have earned the repeat business of our customers because we treat people with respect, put the security of our customers' funds and information as priority number 1, and always provide service with a smile. When it's time to choose a title company to close your transaction, opt for Olympic Peninsula Title and see why we've been voted the best title company in Clallam County over and over again.
I'm Sophia with Clallam County PUD.
And I'm Michaela.
Sometimes a small act of kindness can make a big difference.
Especially for neighbors who may be struggling to keep up with their electric bill.
That's where our Neighborly Assistance Program comes in.
It connects community donations directly to local families who need a helping hand.
Every dollar goes to trusted local agencies into our Power Pledge Fund. You can give once or set up a monthly donation of any amount you wish to give. Learn more at clallampud.net.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. 457-6600. Clallam County voters weighing in on the primary election this Tuesday. And just under 30% of registered voters had returned ballots as of the latest count on Tuesday. A Port Angeles man has been sentenced to nearly 2 years in prison for a violent crime spree earlier this year. 34-year-old James Robert Lundstrom got 23 months after pleading guilty to 5 felony charges stemming from attacks on businesses and an elderly man back along East Front Street in February. And a new statewide report shows crime declined across every major category in Washington state last year. Even so, law enforcement leaders say the state still ranks last in the nation for officers per capita, and staffing is a big concern.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. Daytime highs approaching 75 this afternoon. Under clear skies, winds out of the northeast around 5 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies. Tonight, lows level off around 56. Daytime highs approaching 76 tomorrow. Ample sunshine expected. Dry Thursday and Friday under clear skies with highs in the mid-70s. A peek at the extended shows, 71 Saturday, 69 Sunday, and 68 on Monday. To recap, high of 75 today, low of 56 tonight, high of 76 tomorrow. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently 73.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
All right, welcome once again to the program. Going to spend the first part of the show today getting to know somebody new in our community who's taken over for known as the CEO there, and we welcome Terry Sabella in. She's actually been at that job for a few months now, but this is our first chance of having her on the radio to talk about what she's doing over there. And also, it is National Health Center Week, and that's the other reason that we have Terry here. So it's great to meet you on the radio finally.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thanks for coming in. Just a little bit about you. I'll let folks know kind of how you ended up here in Port Angeles, where you've been.
Certainly.
Yeah.
So it's a long story. I won't make it long here, but when people ask me where I'm from, I always stumble. I was born in Baltimore, Maryland, but had a family who worked in different states. So lived in Minnesota for a little while, landed in Texas in my teens, and have been there with the exception of about 3 years that I lived in Tennessee for a job there. My career, I started as an ER, ICU, and trauma nurse at Parkland in Dallas, so a very large hospital. Unfortunately, most people, if they know it at all, think about JFK when they think about Parkland, right? Yep. So I was there for about a dozen years as a nurse, loved that job, but was looking for what came next in my future, went to law school, became an attorney, represented other healthcare providers, hospital systems, things of that nature. But one of the things I loved about Parkland was we were considered what they call a safety net hospital, meaning we took care of everyone regardless of their ability to pay. Our funding was supported by the county. And so I missed that part of my career. And so I joined my first community health center as their attorney. I was their attorney for a couple of years, became interested in leadership. I have a PhD in healthcare management and health policy, and so then began my career in community health center leadership. Most recently, I was in Brazos Valley in Texas, which is north of Houston, east of Austin. It is a 9-county region. If people have heard of it, it's probably because they follow college football. Texas A&M University, one of the largest public universities in the United States. Other than that, it's a very rural community, and we served a 9-county rural community there.
All right. So coming here, you a little practice only in Texas, maybe like everything in Texas, a bit bigger. Even rural's a bit bigger there, right?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Yes, the health center was a little bit bigger. The community we served was a little bit broader. But yes, certainly experience in rural healthcare delivery, which is challenging.
You have a very interesting background because, if I looked at your title and I'm going, wow, she's got a lot of degrees in that sense. But as you described it, each one, I think, carried you into kind of a different aspect of this and probably brings a toolkit to a job like this.
It does. It does. It kind of makes me a little bit of a jack of all trades. I tell people as the CEO, my job is to be the ultimate generalist. I have a wonderful team here that has folks with very deep specialty expertise in each of their roles. And so my background allows me to have enough understanding of what each of them bring to the table to be able to kind of bring us together, kind of like a conductor with a symphony.
Yeah. All right. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
A little break from the Texas heat for you up here as well, I think.
It is amazing. My husband hasn't finished the move. He called the other day and said it was 104 degrees.
And you said just that, probably laughed and said,
I did laugh.
You better get here.
I said it's 74 here today. He was very jealous.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about known. We've had Dr. Maxwell on many times to talk about this, but I think it's a good chance to revisit what known is and really what it isn't. So this is a unique type of a healthcare center.
It is. And it's unique circumstances that took us to where we are today. So as you mentioned, it is National Health Center Week this whole week. And so part of what we do during National Health Center Week is it's a time to kind of educate people, bring awareness to the community health center movement. It started back in the civil rights movement, the community health center movement, so it's been around for quite some time. Today, community health centers serve over 52 million Americans, so quite a broad reach across the country, over 1,500 organizations doing that with over a vast number of service sites. So Dr. Maxwell and his colleagues back in the day had a private practice, so folks who've been here a long time know that. They realized at some point that private practice was not able to serve the whole community. There were some barriers. By turning it into a community health center, it allowed them to leverage a federal grant. So there's a federal grant that helps offset some of the care provided to individuals who are unfunded. And then it also allows them a different type of payment mechanism with insurance companies, Medicaid, other payers that makes the organization more sustainable for the long term while caring for everyone in our community, regardless of their ability to pay. There's a couple key features about community health centers. One of them that I love to bring to people's awareness is the fact that we are a nonprofit organization that's governed by a local board of directors. That local board of directors has to be at least 51% consumers of our services, meaning patients. So the patients govern and guide the organization. They are the ones that decide what our hours should be, where our locations should be, what type of services we should offer. My job as the CEO is often to bring them the information and allow them to make those decisions. So they are really guiding us as the community members. So while we have that federal tie that gives us some fiscal advantages, and we certainly have an obligation with regard to reporting for transparency, financial reasons, quality reasons, the governance and the decision making is local to the community.
So if I go to another community health organization similar in another community, if I go back to where you came from, they're going to look a little different than the one would here.
Yes,
simply because of that.
There's a saying, you've seen one community health center, you've seen one community health center, and it's very true. Different communities have different challenges. In some communities, it may be about transportation. In some, it may be a food desert that you're grappling with. One of the great things about community health centers also is we're really patient-centered. So while we have the typical primary care services you think of, so you go to your doctor for medical care, we also have a variety of other services. We try to make sure that we provide care to the whole person. So we have pharmacy, we have optical, we have dental, we have behavioral health services, we have addiction treatment services. And then for the rest of the individual needs, things like food insecurity, housing insecurity, we partner with local organizations. So we can't be everything to everyone, but we do try to take a very broad perspective and know that those things really influence health. And so we partner with other organizations that can fill in some of those gaps.
Suffice to say, though, a lot of the broadness of known, I think, comes from the fact that there's a lot of access issues here. I mean, that's been a struggle. I'm sure you've heard about that. That was one of the reasons I think Dr. Maxwell and the et al. Decided they could do something like this, because there was a need to get people physicians. I mean, waiting lists were long. Well, they're still long, but it was taking years and years for people to get in with a doctor just because of the way the nature of the business here locally.
It's absolutely true. One of the keys to having a healthy, thriving community, both in terms of physical health and also the financial viability of a community, is having access to healthcare services. If you don't have healthcare providers, you see other things start to fall away as well. I think prior to this shift, they were having some significant challenges in recruiting healthcare providers to this community, particularly primary care providers. Everyone has probably heard of the primary care shortage. Well, we here in Port Angeles and the surrounding area felt it as much as anyone. So becoming a community health center makes it a little bit easier for us to recruit. And then there was one other thing that they thought of, and that was they have a residency program here. The residency program is such a win. All the studies tell us that when people have the opportunity to train in their medical residency training in a rural community, they see the benefits of life in that rural community, and they're way more likely to continue to serve in that rural community. So we have at least 6 residents at any given time that are here serving this local community on a regular basis. They stay. We have brought a number of individuals to the community that are now physicians serving this area. And when they leave, they don't leave to go to an urban area. In most cases, even when they leave, they go serve another rural community. So it's another service that we provide.
Talk a bit about like Medicare reimbursement. Do you have a better rate than, say, if a private practice tries to bill Medicare, for example? Because that's a real barrier.
It is a real barrier. So Medicaid and Medicare, because of the relationship with the federal government, we have something it's referred, not to get too jargony, but it's an alternative payment mechanism that takes into account what the cost is of delivering care to our patients. You know, I told you about the fact that we have all these different service lines that we're providing. We also have nursing case management and care coordination, referral management. We help people with eligibility when they want to get onto Medicaid, or if they're having trouble finding out if they qualify for a service. We look for grants to help support care. All those things cost money. There are additional layers of expense. And so with the arrangement that we have with CMS, who governs Medicare and Medicaid, they look at our cost reports, that transparency I told you about, the financial transparency we're required to have. We turn in those financial reports, and they look at that to determine how much we're reimbursed for the care that we're providing. So it's way more sustainable to provide those Medicare and Medicaid visits at a community health center than it is in a private practice.
Although you haven't been as part of the ramp up into some of the extra service, I'll call them extra, additional services might be a better way to, vision, pharmacy, all of these things that were kind of added on as this, known grew from just kind of being primary care stuff. Take us a little bit through that, though. Has that been a challenge in some ways? Because it's taking on a lot of different, lines of service, if you will.
It is. It's a bit of a balancing act, and it's difficult because you can't swing the door all the way open and say, oh, now we have vision for everyone. You have to take it a little bite at a time to make sure that you don't jeopardize the stability of the rest of the organization. And so I think that they've been very careful in how they've grown these different pieces, but they're really thriving. They're doing very well. That's not to say that they're not at risk. I think that we are staying in touch with our legislators right now. There's been some discussion of some of the challenges they have on the state budget level, and I think last legislative session they had talked about possibly cutting the Medicaid adult dental benefit. If that were to occur, it's not that we wouldn't take care of those people anymore. It's that those people wouldn't be reimbursed at that Medicaid rate anymore for us. And instead, what we would be using is something we have called a sliding fee scale. So for our patients that don't have any type of coverage, we invite them to visit with our eligibility team, provide their proof of income, and then we place them on a sliding fee scale where they get to pay an amount that's proportional to what they're earning, right? So that it's not a barrier to care. Now, while we were able to avoid that elimination of the adult Medicaid dental benefit last legislative session, we're told that this year they're having a tough time again with the state budget, and it's on the table again. So we will be reaching out to folks saying, if this is something that's important to you, if you want to make sure that Known can keep providing these services and these benefits to folks, we're going to have to make sure our legislators know that we need that reimbursement.
I find it interesting, too, we talk about dental. It's a great example. That's just, you're not really intruding on the number of dentists we already have here. There's a need for these services. That's part of the reason that you've taken them on. Not necessarily to displace or replace anybody here. It's just there's a void.
We could have a whole conversation about oral health. I mean, oral health is very much tied to physical health.
Right.
Patients who are dealing with chronic disease, you need to be very attentive to their oral health. Pregnant moms frequently experience issues with their oral health. Most people who have insurance that covers dental, it's not great coverage, right? It does get you some contractual discounts and a modest amount of coverage, but there are a lot of people who need significant reconstructive oral health care who don't have access to it. And yes, we're not intruding. There is a need for way more than we have right now. And it's not just Port Angeles or Clallam County. It's nationwide. This is such a challenge.
Yeah. Behavioral health, you're doing some work there as well. Maybe talk about that.
Yes. So we have a behavioral health team. So there's counseling services available, there's psychiatry available, and we're looking at how we can expand that. We know that that's a growing need in our country and in this community. And we have a wonderful team that is providing also access to some addiction treatment services, which again is another significant need.
So how do you map out the strategy? What when you get together with this board, I mean, as to what we do next, what we can sustain, what's working, what's not?
That's a great question. So at least every 3 years, we do what's called a community health needs assessment. And then that feeds a strategic planning retreat with our board, where we sit down and we show them what the analysis looks like. What is the need in our community? What does the legislative impacts of things that we know are coming look like? How are they going to impact us financially? What is our fiscal health, our financial health as an organization? We talk about what the community partners are able to do with us, what challenges we can anticipate, what opportunities that we have, what our patients are saying their need is. And then we sit and map out and prioritize what the community needs are. I frequently tell folks who get overwhelmed, you can't boil the ocean, right? We have to take this on one piece at a time. But that's one of the wonderful things about that community-based board is they really have their ear to the ground. They understand what the patients are feeling, what the patients are needing, and they provide that voice in that decision-making.
How many patients do you serve now?
So here at Known, I believe we exceeded, I'm looking for my number, but I believe it was 17,000 in the last year. Yeah, I think that's right.
I only bring this up because if Known were not here, that's 17,000 patient visits or whatever that would have to be absorbed somewhere else. And anybody that is trying to access any sort of health care realizes that even with that in place, it's still a struggle. I couldn't imagine what the community it doesn't have the capacity to absorb that.
No, that's absolutely correct. And if you think about the fact we have 13 physicians on staff, we have 9 advanced practice clinicians, which are nurse practitioners, PAs, and then 6 residents. That's a lot of providers, a lot of clinicians seeing patients. If those individuals weren't here, that's quite a gap that would have to be filled.
You're separate from OMC. I think people need to realize that because I think sometimes people think you're one and the same.
Right. Close partner, but not the same. We are different organizations. So but I will say I've been around communities where they didn't have that partnership with the local hospital, and it presents quite a challenge. Here, it's not just the hospital, but all of the different organizations that provide care are really so collegial and very partnership focused. And so we are close partners with OMC, but not the same organization. Right. We are a local private nonprofit.
All right, you alluded to Medicaid issues with the dental program as well, but let's talk about kind of some of the other things that are brewing in the background, because it's not all rosy out there at the state level, certainly, and the federal level has got some things going on too. So give us your lay of the land right now.
Yeah, it's rough all the way around. You know, it was interesting to go through the global pandemic, and then not everyone understands this, but during the global pandemic, what happened was they said anyone that was on Medicaid or came to access Medicaid during the pandemic was not going to be dropped off of Medicaid until after the end of the pandemic. Which meant that the Medicaid rolls grew significantly. A lot of people had access to Medicaid during that time. They didn't have to submit a lot of paperwork during that time. Their continued eligibility was assumed. And then when the end of the global pandemic was announced, all of a sudden there were a lot of people that lost access to care. That was not only devastating for the individuals, but it was really difficult for the health centers and other providers who continued to provide access to care for those individuals, but now again on a sliding fee scale because they no longer had coverage. Now fast forward a little bit and we see some of the new policy with the work requirements impacting those folks who have access to Medicaid. They're going to have to be proving that they are involved in eligible activities or have some type of medical exemption, and they're going to have to prove that again and again and again over the course of a year. One of the challenges I've heard, and I have not validated this myself, is that they don't even necessarily align all the members of a family with the same eligibility dates. So you may have to be bringing paperwork in for your kids on a different cadence than you're bringing it in for your. It's really challenging. We've been talking to the folks at the state level, at the state Medicaid agency, and they're trying to help us figure out how to navigate it with the least impact to the individuals possible. But it will have impact. There will be folks who lose coverage. There will be folks who struggle with getting this documentation submitted and submitted timely and will fall out of care because of this. And the challenges of falling out of care sometimes are many times what we're talking about is people who are the working poor in our communities. Yeah. It's not that they don't have a job, that they're not engaged. It's they're working an hourly wage job. And now are we going to ask them to take off work to come submit these documents on a regular basis and go through what is a very complicated process? I have helped people with this process, and I have a PhD in healthcare management, and I'm struggling with making sure all these boxes are checked the right way and the paperwork submitted right. It's just, it really is quite a burden, and I'm concerned that those people will have to prioritize going to their hourly wage job.
Or getting their health care, really. I mean,
versus getting their health care, which means when you see them, you're going to see them when they are sicker, when they're unable to go to work, when they're unable to care for their families, when they're in the emergency room because their chronic disease has gotten out of control, instead of allowing us to be proactive and manage those things.
And
together.
Some of this also spills into the private insurance too. And I mean, that even has an effect, right? Because you've mentioned, I know a lot of folks that, they've had businesses have had provided a benefit. They can't afford it anymore because the rates for the premiums have gone up so much.
They've gone up dramatically year after year after year. I mean, even for us as a community health center, I know when we go out to market to look for the benefits for our own staff, and as a healthcare provider, I find it unacceptable that I would not be able to make sure that our staff have access to a quality health care benefit. But every year we're talking about increases of 30% in premiums. Well, we're not getting paid 30% more to deliver services. And that's not just for us. That's all these businesses. Right. And many small businesses, your local plumber who may just have a couple people on staff, they can't afford to provide those benefits for their employees. It's just too costly.
Right, which is where having a known in our community is a good thing, because
Absolutely.
it really is it is an ultimate safety net in a lot of ways as well. I think we'll have to have you back to talk about some things, especially as some of this stuff starts to bubble up. I'd love to chat more with you, Terry.
I would love to come back and talk some more. And in the meantime, I am now here in the community, and I welcome visitors, anyone who would like to be a part of what we're doing, anyone who would like to partner with Known. please look me up, come visit me. I'd be happy to have that conversation. I think the more we all work together, the better we can serve our community.
All right. Thanks, Terry, for
Thank
coming
you.
in. That's Terry Sabella. She is the new CEO at the North Olympic Healthcare Network, known here locally. And we have her not only because she's new to town and in the job, but also because it is National Health Center Week this week as well. We're going to take a break. We're going to talk a little bit about the Port of Port Angeles when we come back right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Hi, it's Dan Shappy with Farmers Insurance. Ever call somewhere and get stuck in a phone maze so long you start questioning your life choices?
Press 1 to speak to a robot. Press 2 to be routed to the number 4 button. Press 3 to be disconnected inexplicably.
Yeah, we don't do that. We're right here in Port Angeles at 405 South Peabody Street. You need help? Just stop in. We'll look up, smile, and actually talk with you. Farmers Insurance, here when you need us.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
One of the biggest and best events in the area is the annual Unity of Effort, a community celebration for our first responders. This year, we welcome guitar and rock vocal virtuoso Lita Ford.
Hi, everybody. This is Lita Ford. I truly appreciate our first responders and look forward to rocking out with you in Squim on August the 8th.
We'll see you at the Unity of Effort in Squim.
Looking for the perfect place to enjoy your next chapter? Come tour Lavender Meadows in Squim, featuring beautiful, affordable homes for active 55-plus living. Enjoy modern, low-maintenance living, plus pickleball courts, a community garden, and clubhouse gatherings.
Hey folks, this is Courtney over at Lavender Meadows. We hope to see you soon to check out our 8 new floor plans. Don't forget to ask us about our lease-to-own options.
Come home to Lavender Meadows. Visit lavendermeadowsmhc.com.
Hello, this is Port Commissioner Connie Beauvais. The Port of Port Angeles is investing in the future of our harbor with important improvements to the log yard. By the end of 2026, we will have constructed a new stormwater treatment system that will protect water quality in Port Angeles Harbor by reducing industrial stormwater runoff. This means that we'll be cleaning up pollutants before they enter the water. Crews are regrading and paving the site. This will be a big improvement compared to the unpaved site we have today. Pavement will reduce mud and pollutants at the site, improve water drainage, and make log yard operations more efficient. Together, these changes will help protect water quality, marine habitat, and the natural resources that make our maritime community so special. The log yard upgrade project is the port's next step toward a cleaner, healthier harbor for generations to come. Learn more at theportofpa.com or follow us on Facebook.
Need a new roof? Save big with Tri-State Roofing. For a limited time, mention promo code KONP50 and get 50% off new gutters with your new roof or 50% off a new skylight with your roof replacement. Protect your home with expert installation, quality materials, and a team you can trust. Financing available. Tri-State Roofing, 360-208-2222 and mention KONP50.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
Caring for a loved one takes heart and sometimes a helping hand. Our Adult Day Stay program provides a safe, supportive environment with meals, activities, and on-site nursing care from just 30 minutes up to 10 hours with no minimum commitment for only $25 an hour.
Care for your loved one and peace of mind for you. This is Andy McGill, Executive Director at Dungeness Court Memory Care. Call 360-582-9309 to schedule a free assessment today.
Do you have a spare bedroom in your home and you'd like to earn extra income? That unused space could provide hundreds of dollars each month while helping someone in our community find affordable housing. Olympic Home Share is a local program that helps homeowners rent spare bedrooms to carefully screened renters for stays of a month or longer. The program uses Nesterly, a nationwide home sharing platform that matches homeowners with compatible renters. Every homeowner and renter is background checked. References are verified, and Nesterly provides all the tools and support to make home sharing simple and secure. You decide the rent, the length of stay, and the house rules. Rental incomes average between $500 to $1,000 per month, and some renters may help with chores like pet sitting, yard work, or other tasks in exchange for reduced rent. Olympic Home Share has already helped create several successful local matches, and your home could be next. For more information about becoming a host, visit Olympic Home Share at portangeles.org.
right, welcome back to the program. Going to switch gears now. Can talk with the CEO at the Port of Port Angeles, Paul Jerkovitz, who it's been far too long since we've had Paul on, but good to have you back, Paul. Good to see you again.
Fantastic to be here.
Lots going on in the news, and I thought it would be good to get caught up just a little bit more in a more in-depth conversation about some things. One, we'll talk about, I guess, the latest news, if people followed last week, was, the port is having its, I'll put it in quotes, some struggles, like many businesses are right now. And I wanted you to elaborate a little bit more about kind of what the situation is really at the port's balance sheet right now.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's well worth mentioning. There's a couple of things that probably went against us in the first half of the year. Trade strategy and tariffs is probably chief amongst those. And I have to take the blame for most of that. I usually look at the budget before it goes to the commissioners. Most of the business units were fairly leaning out, trying to go ahead and make sure that we brought in as much revenue as we could with all the projects going on. What we're going to end up doing is probably come in line with what our budgeted numbers were for 2025, but it still means that we're going to have a shortfall on the revenue side. Where we end up, where we land, that's anybody's guess at this point. I have a pretty good idea where that's going to land, but yeah, definitely when you're operating business lines, you're going to have that.
Right. One of the things we talked before we went on the air about the port that's interesting is, yes, it's a government agency, but it's more of a business than it is it runs more like a private sector business than it does as because most of your revenue comes off of rentals, port fees, that sort of thing.
It does. So out of an $11 million budget, our levy take is literally $1.8 million of that. And then because of commission resolution, we don't even take the levy take into the equation as far as operating budget. That goes strictly to reserves and debt service. So the $1.8 million automatically comes off, and then whatever we generate in profit, or as we call it in the public sector, surplus, ends up coming out of the business lines. We also sweep that over into reserves. So over the years, we've done very well. If we miss this year, this will be the first year that we haven't had a reserve contribution in probably 5 years.
Yeah, I was going to say it's been healthy up to this point at least.
Absolutely.
Right. And it's not that, you're a million-ish off right now. It's not like it's a huge amount, but that's still a large number, right?
I think the last time I looked at it at the end of June, it was $1,063,000.
Okay.
So, that's no small amount, especially for a small port like this. However, with the magnitude of the amount of projects we have going on, we're right at about $43 million in capital investment projects right now. When you take $1 million and take a look at what that looks like on an entire playing field, it's a blip. I don't want to minimize it at all, but we're working hard to make sure we come back.
You remarked at the last commissioners meeting, though, you do lose a little sleep even over that.
I have to. Yeah,
your job.
I think at the end of the day, it's a public trust that we're dealing with here, and we have to share responsibility to that.
So a lot of people hear tariffs, and they don't think of the Port of Port Angeles. We're not a huge shipping, container shipping, for example, type of a port where you've got goods from China coming in that are subject to this. So how are that type of economic policy? How is that really affecting here in this port?
In this port, I think the biggest thing that hits us is we've been primarily an export port for many, many years. Exporting biomass, exporting logs. That's been the majority of it. What we bring in is usually local short sea shipping, where we're moving product from Clallam County maybe to Snohomish County, Snohomish County back to Clallam County. We have a lot of industry here in Port Angeles that relies on that trade. Mm-hmm. And we still do that quite well. I think the intermodal handling facility is doing, while they're down as well, they're doing their part to make sure the economy continues to tick over here. It's the bigger international trade that I think we're seeing the largest impacts on. For forestry products, I have to tell you that probably we haven't seen a log ship now close to 2 years. Mm-hmm. I don't expect that we're going to see one anytime soon. And then I think there's also been a shift in thinking as to what we do with our national products.
Is that trade policy driven, that lack of log export going on?
Because we want to make sure that there's a balance in the trade policy. And I'm not sure we've quite seen that equilibrium yet. But to affect the desired levels that we want to see in foreign trade policy, there's been this matching of rhetoric going back and forth.
Your tariff for my tariff, sort of
Correct.
thing. Yeah, right.
So when you ratchet that up, and the dollar is still fairly strong, it makes an impact.
Yeah.
We're seeing a little bit of that equilibrium come back into the market right now. So let's see what happens in the next few months.
So that could bode well for you guys at least in the soon term, we hope.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about the other thing that has happened is the port has taken internally now its operations at the boat haven and also at the boat yard, basically down in the PA waterfront. A bit about that, because it had been a contracted operation for a long time.
It has been. It's been contracted since I've been here. It's been contracted for most of the careers of most of the people in the building at the Port Administration Building. The one thing that was becoming very apparent to the commissioners is that we have about a $17 to $19 million investment that we have to make in the refloating.
Hey, there we go. I lost my connection with you there. I
thought it was me.
Okay, back to the 17 million you were talking about just a moment ago before we got rudely interrupted there.
No, so there's approximately a $17 to $19 million investment that's foreseen to be needed in the west end of the boat haven, completely refloating and reconfiguring that. And the commission was very, very conscious of the fact that we don't operate the marina, we don't operate the boatyard. And they were really, really questioning whether they wanted to move forward with that kind of an investment and not be in control of their own destiny, so to speak. So they asked me at the beginning of the year to go ahead and take a look at what we could do, and we did. We worked very diligently with Petricard, who to this day remains a preferred provider for us, worked through a transition plan, and we finally arrived at one that everybody could agree to. So as of the evening of the 15th of July, the port took over operations at the Boat Haven Boatyard.
What does that mean staffing-wise, service-wise there as well? I know when this announcement was made, you're saying you won't see any difference if you're a user down there at least.
That's exactly what our intent was to make sure that there was absolutely at a bare bones minimum, you would see no disruption in service, no interruption. It would just be seamless. I believe the team worked very, very hard to make sure that happened. Ron Amundsen, who's been at John Wayne Marina for years, he took over marina operations at the 1st of July. He's been grooming the team, making sure we have the right people in place. He wants to make sure that the same level of service that we enjoy at John Wayne Marina is enjoyed at Boat Haven and Boatyard. I would say give us another 6 months and we'll have another conversation about it. But to date, I'm pretty proud of what the folks have achieved.
John Wayne Marina is operated internally.
It is.
Right. So this is mirroring now kind of what you already have been doing down there.
We definitely have the in-house skills to do this, and hopefully it translates well.
All right. Marina usage, that's always a topic of concern, I think, is how many boats are actually, coming through, being moored, using slips. How is that looking?
Both marinas they're really robust business lines, and I have to say that even there, while we haven't seen the impact that we have at the terminals and the intermodal facility and otherwise, we have seen an impact to the transient boating community. We're probably off 10%, 12% from where we were a year ago. And most public ports that I've spoken to in the last few months have seen absolutely a shadow of exactly what we're seeing.
Right. So I think fuel prices probably have a lot to do with that.
They do. And also it's uncertainty, right? If you get it wrong, you get underway, you're paying fuel price X. Something happens overnight, and that could spike, 20%. And we've seen that fairly regularly in the last few months in the fuel pricing. So it's something to keep in mind, and I think that keeps a lot of folks at home.
All right. Right next door, let's talk about it's called the Log Yard Project, but you guys are just about ready to wrap that project up that's going to make that part of the waterfront, I understand, a lot more usable.
It definitely is going to do that. It's a multi-phase project, and Chris Hartman, we should bring him in one of these days and pick his brain a little bit. What it's going to enable us to do is it's going to enable us to have a solid paved surface throughout the entire yard. And it's going to go ahead and also take the facility, make it a lot easier to clean, make it a lot easier to maneuver, a lot easier to store. And then the docking facility is also going to get rehabbed. So at the same time, we're going to be able to go ahead and improve situation and condition.
And I should have pointed out, this is just west of the boat haven for folks who are kind of geographically trying to decipher what we're talking about.
If you're in the west boat haven parking lot and you look west, you'll see a fence line there. Beyond that fence line is where the intermodal facility is.
Tell us a bit about the loading structure, some of the dock, if you will, how that's going to change.
Yeah, the dock is actually the cofferdam, and the cofferdam is hardened sheet-piled wall is where we bring barges in and out of. And that is going to be completely redone, refaced, strengthened, and then the entire area where the machines will be operating from will be paved. It's going to change things immensely for the guys working down there. It's going to make things a lot more efficient, a lot more organized, and a lot easier to maintain.
Right, and from what I understand, making it easier to do different types of shipping through there too.
Absolutely.
Right.
So whether it's lay down area for project cargo coming in, whether it's products for the city to lay down any of their utility or PUD utility gear, it's easy to do. It's easy to segregate. It's easy to make available. And at the end of the day, the number one thing that this project is doing is it's improving stormwater, and the stormwater quality is going to be greatly improved.
All right, let's talk a bit about airport operations. What's the latest there? Everybody's curious. Are we going to get some commercial air service and that sort of thing? So, what do we know, and how is that also kind of affecting, I guess, some of the lines of service that the port's tracking?
Right, I think there's a lot of foot at the airport. James Alton, manager at the airport, he's also responsible for our emergency services side of the house. Done a fantastic job making sure that he's communicating with everybody up there. We have two big projects ongoing. We have a taxiway rehabilitation, which included ripping out the entire taxiway, not just grinding it down. We've torn that completely out. The taxiway that'll go back in place will be, a 20, 30-year taxiway easily. And then at the same token, we have a new hangar going up, a new 4-bay hangar, 25,000 square feet. That's already spoken for.
I was going to say, that's been an issue, is hangar space, right? So you build it and it's already taken up.
No, we didn't even get done with the site work, and we had all 4 bays spoken for. So touch wood, that continues, and we're already looking at the next project.
Do you have plenty of space for more hangars there or not?
We have about 750 acres to develop if that's what we want to do.
Yeah. So far, I know it's been judicious, might be a good way to say it, as far as the process of adding on.
Well, it's all about being responsible as well. I think the big thing is that we're making sure that we're good stewards of the public funds that we're entrusted with. And that makes planning projects very, very complex to make sure that we're not diving into too much money before we actually need it. So we've spent quite a bit of time making sure that we go through the budget, the 5-year, the 10-year, the 15-year, the 20-year plan.
Operationally out at the airport, how is that going? I mean, is it busy, or are you staying busy enough?
The numbers are up. Okay. I would say July 25 to July 26, we're probably 12% ahead as far as traffic is concerned. We're seeing a lot of aircraft coming and going, especially jet aircraft. And Citizen Air took over operations over there from Wright Brothers some time ago. They're making strides daily as far as improving their quality service. And we want to make sure that we're getting the message across that we're open for business.
Right.
Jim's got a couple of really good programs planned for later in the year, maybe a chili cook-off fly-in, a few other things just to go ahead and get people oriented to what's going on at Fairchild.
Port Angeles has a robust airport that's ready for
That's
you, right?
That's right.
Back to the taxiway project, maybe you can explain to folks why that is so important, because I don't think the layperson out there gets it, the fact that's really how you can do some of this, what we were just talking about, expansion of hangars and things like that.
Exactly. Without a good taxiway, you have no way of getting from one end of the runway to the other without going down the runway and actually turning around. You see a lot of airports are still that way, but this allows multiple aircraft to queue up, get ready for takeoff, and also sequence the landing. So this allows us with a good runway, which was just redone 2 years ago, now with a brand new taxiway that's going to be able to hold up with the same amount of weight as a runway does, allow us to actually sequence aircraft.
Yeah, that's a key point. The weight was an issue, wasn't it?
Yes.
As you bring in larger aircraft, great, you could land them on that new runway, but you couldn't necessarily get them off that runway effectively.
Exactly. So this cures that. I think it also allows us to have multiple flight operations going on at the same time.
All right. Last point. Let's talk a bit about the rental, the lease space. That's I guess probably one of the biggest lines of revenue that the port is. And I understand. I mean, you don't have a lot of vacancy right now at the port for your buildings, right?
I was corrected actually at the last commission meeting. I think we're at 99.7% occupancy of all of our rent-ready space. So that means we're not keeping up with demand.
I guess that's a good problem in some ways, but that also does foster some other issues, because what if you have something that comes along that needs space?
I think that's, as Dr. Sabella was saying in your previous segment, I think that, rural ability to go ahead and keep pace with what's going on is absolutely key for us. If we can't keep pace with medicine, that's not good. If we can't keep pace with economic development, that's also not good. One of the biggest jobs that the port actually has is economic development in the county. The Port District is county-wide. We have a responsibility, whether it's at the Gardner Line in the east or all the way out to Quinault River in the west. We need to continue to go ahead and bring economic development to the county, and that's the one thing that I have to say prohibits us from moving forward faster than what we already are.
Space.
Right. We have the space. It's the buildings and the infrastructure that goes with it.
Usable space for depending on what it is that comes to town. You mentioned some large capital projects are underway right now. You want to touch on kind of what is moving right now?
We have a little bit of everything going on. I think that we just spoke about the airport. That's a $7 million investment going on there. You have the intermodal and handling facility. That's a $12 million project there. We have Clean Ports project going on down at the waterfront, bring electrification to the terminal, bringing electric only equipment to the terminal. That's a considerable chunk. We have another PIDP grant for some new equipment that we're bringing to the terminal. That's another significant chunk. So as I said, this year we're probably got about $5 million in capital reserves going out as match money to grants that the port's been able to receive. So we've been able to leverage the money that we've accumulated from levy take, and I think the last count this year we'll spend $39 million. Significant amount of that is going to be grant money either from the state or the federal government. And then about $5.5 million is port match. If you take a look at everything that crossover, this is a boundary of this year and next year. Catherine just did a presentation this last port commission, and I think our average match is 12.5%, which is unheard of.
Wow, impressive. Marine Trades campus. Where are things there? What's next there?
Excellent. All that entire project is now complete.
Mm-hmm.
We have two entities that are seriously interested in expanding their operations into the Port Angeles area. One of them is somebody local. Then we also have another out-of-town interest that's looking at it. And we also have a governmental entity that's looking at it. I think one thing that we know is that we have the ability to go ahead and prepare for whatever any of those entities want to bring. That entire Marine Trade Center was built with the infrastructure intended for exactly that.
Right.
So I hope that we have, as soon as we get something signed, I'll come back.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
talk about it,
I hope you will. So.
I hope that it's before the end of the summer.
Excellent. So right on the cusp of some things then.
Yes, sir.
All right. Paul, it's always great to talk to you. We never have enough time.
No.
So therefore you are coming back. All right.
I'll be here.
All right. Paul Jerkovitz there, who is the CEO at the Port of Port Angeles. A bit of an update on what's been going on with the port. We're going to take a break and wrap things up right after this.
Is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Have you ever clicked get a quote online and suddenly your phone acts like it owes someone money? 20 calls a day, numbers you've never seen, and not one of them local? I'm Dan Shappy with Farmers Insurance. If you're tired of mystery callers trying to sell you insurance, try something different. Talk directly to a real local agent who actually lives here. No robocalls, no strangers. We are real people helping real people right here at home.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Attention all moms-to-be. North Olympic Healthcare Network's board-certified physicians specializing in family medicine with obstetrics are here to guide and support you on your pregnancy journey. We provide personalized, compassionate care focused on building a long-lasting relationship before, during, and after pregnancy. From pre-pregnancy planning to childbirth to primary care for your whole family, we're with you for the journey. To learn more, visit nohn-pa.org/obstetrics.
Hello, Clallam County. This is Danny with Harper Ridgeview and Sequim Valley Funeral Chapels. I recently had the opportunity to assist a very elderly but very energetic woman here in our county. She had in her possession her husband's remains, who had passed years prior. She sent us a letter asking if we could help her pre-need funeral and cemetery services for herself and her deceased husband. She'd been stressing and worrying for far too long, wondering what would happen when she passed. It was such a joy to help her finalize her plans. It was so easy too. She expressed to me over and over such feelings of peace and relief now that all that was taken care of. So let us help you today to achieve that same peace of mind by planning ahead, even if it is a simple plan. We're here to serve you. Harper Ridgeview and Sequim Valley Funeral Chapels, because your loved ones deserve the best.
It's time for your monthly Market Minute with critical insights from local real estate pro May Graves.
Hi, May Graves here with Sequim Real Estate Market Pros. Have you ever thought about listing your home for sale yourself? There might be some advantages on the surface, like paying less in professional fees, but the data tells us there's really no advantage. Your neighbors who list their home with an agent typically sell for $60,000 more than someone selling by owner. Homes that are listed for sale by owner are also under-marketed. Typically, no professional pictures, the remarks are under par, and the data is not strong. Plus, they are not reaching a large audience. If you're thinking about listing your home, talk to the Real Estate Market Pros. We'll give you all the advice and help you get your home on the market and sold. Reach out to May Graves at Real Estate Market Pros.
Olympic Hot Tub has terrific ways to achieve total wellness at home. Saltwater hot tubs, swim spas, saunas, and cold plunges, all waiting for you. You'll be saying, ah, in no time. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Need a new roof? Save big with Tri-State Roofing. For a limited time, mention promo code KONP50 and get 50% off new gutters with your new roof or 50% off a new skylight with your roof replacement. Protect your home with expert installation, quality materials, and a team you can trust. Financing available. Tri-State Roofing, 360-208-2222 and mention KONP50.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
The North Olympic Peninsula's news station, News Radio KONP Port Angeles Sequim, AM 1450, FM 101.7 and 101.3, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. The House Ethics Committee today formally announced an investigation into Congressman Max Miller for alleged domestic violence and abuse or illegal drug use. Miller has denied allegations. Sources tell ABC News that President Trump called Miller, telling him his re-election campaign's in jeopardy. ABC's Peter Harlambus.
Miller has faced accusations of abuse by at least two different women, former White House Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham and Emily Moreno, the daughter of Senator Bernie Moreno of Ohio. He told reporters today that he believes Miller's unfit for office.
My daughter lives in constant fear of this man.
Responding to Emily Moreno's accusations, including that he threw her against a wall and held a gun to her head, Miller tried to discredit his ex-wife.
If I had assaulted her, would she have offered to cook me dinner 6 days later?
Miller's running for re-election, and he's denied the allegations, sued both women for defamation, and called for a House ethics investigation into his own conduct. Peter Harlambus, ABC News.
Bails $1 million for a man arrested for allegedly starting the largest of the 3 wildfires in Spokane, Washington, that destroyed hundreds of buildings and forced tens of thousands of people from their homes. He went to prison for manslaughter in his father's 2010 killing in Arizona. ABC's Alex Stone in Spokane.
Today, some of the evacuation orders are being lifted or they are being at least lessened where people can start coming back. A lot of the evacuees are now able to come in and start seeing what remains.
Acting Attorney General and AG nominee Todd Blanche has been confirmed by the Senate Judiciary Committee. He can only afford to lose 2 Republican votes in the full Senate vote ahead. On Wall Street, the Dow and S&P 500 closed at new records as stocks rallied on hopes of an Iran deal, lower oil prices, and strong corporate earnings. Oil continued to drop, U.S. and Brent crude finishing $75 and $79 a barrel. You're listening to ABC News.
Bathfitter is celebrating over 42,000 installations in Western Washington. That's 42,000 bathrooms made safer, cleaner, and more